Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Spartan Arms Las Vegas. Today we're going to be taking a look at one of the more popular pistols in the shop, the Shadow System. So let's go ahead and get to it. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the Shadow Systems. Now, if you guys hear any noise in the background, that's because we're in an open shop today. If you guys are interested, come on down, say hi. But the Shadow System is an extremely popular pistol here, and one of the reasons that it's so popular is because it's basically like a fully customized Glock right out of the box. It takes Glock magazines, it works on Glock parts, but it is customized from Shadow System just to be that much better. It's a very reliable pistol. I have shot tens of thousands of rounds through all of the different Shadow Systems that I've had over the years, and they have always worked really well. The thing about Shadow Systems is they thought from the ground up, how do we make this thing better? But how do we not make the price go as high as you would pay if you were to customize a Glock yourself? I mean, think about the different things that you have to do, right? If you want to get this texture, you have to get a stipple job. If you want a barrel's going to cost hundreds of dollars. A trigger is going to cost hundreds of dollars. Sights and the mill work that you'd have to do on the slide to get something to look like this, everything added up would be thousands of dollars, and these come in well under $1,000. So again, not only is it ready to go right out of the box, but you're saving quite a bit of money on a very nice, very well made, reliable pistol that again kind of runs on that Glock platform that everybody trusts. Okay, so the pistol that I'm holding in my hand right here is going to be the Shadow Systems XR920, and then after this we'll take a look at the MR920. There's quite a bit of differences between the two, but the XR920 is essentially Shadow Systems' version of the Glock 19X. So we have that compact slide, but with the full-size frame. So if you're a guy that has those big bear paw hands and you just don't like the length on a Glock 19, but you still want that same slide length and maybe some of the weight savings that comes with it, this might be the one for you. Again, that full-size frame means you're going to get that full-size grip. This is a really, really nice pistol. I mean, this thing's tricked out top to bottom. So as you can see here, we have a magwell at the bottom, which can be removed. We have a really, really nice grip texture. I would say it's kind of on the medium to rough side of that grip texture. So you get a really nice, good purchase on this thing. Nice undercut on the trigger guard. Excellent trigger with a really good reset. It's a little bit heavier than, let's say, the Zev OZ9, but still, I think for a duty type pistol, that's probably a good thing. It's not like a competition trigger, but still, it's a lot smoother than your standard Glock trigger. Okay, so moving up to the slide, this is about as tricked out as you're gonna get. I mean, there are serrations pretty much everywhere. We have serrations in the front at an angle, back at an angle, serrations on the top. We have several different cuts to help reduce any potential for snag. There's window cuts here, which allow you to see the barrel and also reduce weight on the slide. Helps the slide cycle better if you have an optic on there. Now, this does have an optic cut, but this optic cut allows more than just an RMR type footprint. When you remove the cap, there's several different thread points under there that allow you to mount multiple types of optics from all sorts of brands. So they really did a good job on this pistol. It's got a match grade barrel. This one is chambered in 9mm, and it's just an excellent slide. I mean, we even have some fantastic sights on here. So if you're somebody who doesn't want to run a red dot, we have a blacked out rear sight, and then we have a very bright yellow front sight with a tritium center. So it's going to be a night sight in the front, blacked out in the back right there. Now, if we move over to the MR920, this is my own personal favorite. Obviously, everybody's going to be different. Come on into the shop, get your hands on one, feel what the grip feels like to you, and then pick out the one that's going to work for you. There's several different models. These are only two of the multiple models that you can buy. But the MR920, for me, is one of the best combinations of slide length and frame. So the frame on this one's going to be more like the Glock 19. So for my hands, which is a medium hand, it fits on there absolutely perfect. All the same features that you're going to find on that other pistol as well. It's going to be the same trigger, very nice flat face, same undercut. There's going to be a texture on the front of the trigger guard as well. So if you're somebody who likes to wrap your booger hook around the front right there, you can do that. Same texture points and index points on the frame there as well. But the slide is where we're going to find some of the differences. So on this particular one, there is no serrations on the top. So it's just going to be a flat black top right there. It's going to have the same optics cut. It's going to have the same sights, but again, just slightly different. No window, as you can see on the side. This one right here is set up more for like a combat style, right? So it's going to be a fully enclosed slide, but it does have the really nice serrations on the front, really nice serrations on the back as well. And as you can see, the barrel on this one is a little bit different. Just like the other one, it does have a spiral fluted barrel. Spiral fluted barrels are fantastic for relieving heat because the spiral fluting allows for increased surface area, and when you have that increased surface area, it's going to allow the barrel to cool off a little bit better, and that's going to increase your barrel life, and it's going to increase your accuracy as well once that barrel starts to heat up. But as you can see, this one right here also has a threaded barrel, so if you want to put a compensator or a suppressor or anything else you can attach to the end of these, a flamethrower, grenade launcher, something like that, you can do that. So it is very similar to the other one, but it just gives you some of those slight differences that you might be looking for that fit your needs a little bit better. So for me, the Shadow Systems really do fill a niche. So if you're somebody who's looking for that customized look, or you want something like a Glock, but you just want it to be better, then that's where I think the Shadow Systems would come in. Now, it's very comparable in a lot of ways to, let's say, the Zev OZ9. The Zev OZ9 is very similar in the fact that they use a lot of Glock components, they take Glock magazines, but there are some differences between the two as well, including this one's about $300 more on average. So it's significantly more for the Zev. And I think a lot of that is going to be the name, but there are some differences that I think really set them apart as well. Now, one of the biggest differences is the fact that the Zev is modular, very similar to, let's say, like a SIG P320 or something like that. It's not the frame or the slide that's serialized. It is the internal component that is serialized. So if you want to make a change to the color, size, or shape of the frame, you can do that without having to worry about filling out a 4473 or going through all the background check processes. You can do that as long as you just simply swap the internal component over to another frame. So I do like that. This one also has a different pick rail up front. So the Shadow Systems, very traditional Glock slot right there. It's going to be slightly different in size, but this one is more like a 1913 type rail in the front, and it's also aluminum. So the rail is going to be aluminum, but the frame starting from behind the rail is what's going to be polymer. Everything else is fairly similar, to be honest with you. I think the trigger on the Zev is just a little bit better. It's a little heavier than the Shadow Systems. You can definitely feel that weight up top, but it still feels really nice in your hand. It just feels a little bit different. You'd have to come in, hold them both, and kind of play around with them in order to figure out which one you like the best. But again, there's similarities and there's some differences, not too many differences. Okay, so we brought in Garrett for this next part because obviously it doesn't really matter what the pistol looks like or, you know, all these little cool features and stuff like that. For a defensive pistol, it has to be accurate, it has to be reliable. Those are the most important things, and if it's not, then it doesn't really matter, right? And I just found something out about Shadow Systems that Garrett's going to explain to you today, and I think this is one of the coolest things I've found out in a while. So tell us a little bit about what Shadow Systems offers.
Yeah, so with Shadow Systems, if you own a Shadow Systems and you get into a defensive shooting and you actually have to use your Shadow Systems to defend your life, in most states, your gun is going to be taken as evidence, right? Even after you're cleared, evidence is going to be held for an indefinite amount of time. It could be a week, could be a couple of years, could be never. If you take your police report that says you were cleared in self-defense, but they retained your firearm as evidence, you send a copy of that to Shadow Systems, and they will actually send you a new pistol for you to keep, even if your pistol gets returned to you. So that's pretty cool. I don't know of any other company that actually offers that as a service. Send in a copy of your police report showing that you were cleared of self-defense, but your gun retains as evidence. They will send you a new pistol.
So if you guys are interested in any of these, head down to the shop. You know, they're obviously coming and going all the time, but see what they have in stock. Garrett will help you out right here. So I am Will, this is Garrett, and we'll see you at the shop.